Okay, here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed. One winner, 42 losers.
Skill and glory. It's a multi-billion-dollar chess game played on and off the track. Behind every roaring engine and photo-finish victory lies a complex web of strategy, politics, and financial muscle. Teams don't just compete for trophies. They battle for budgets, sponsorships, and technological supremacy. The difference between first and fifth place isn't always talent. It's often who has the deepest pockets and the smartest investments. Every corner, every overtake, every pit stop is powered by money, and sometimes who pays decides who wins. A single second in the pits can cost millions in lost revenue. Sponsorship logos aren't just decoration, they're lifelines, with companies paying top dollar for a fraction of a second of screen time. From billion-dollar TV deals that broadcast the drama to 500 million fans worldwide, to secretive backroom negotiations where brands fight for prime real estate on a car's livery, cash doesn't just talk in Formula One, it screams. And when the money dries up, even legendary teams can vanish overnight. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the empire that runs Formula One, where speed meets spreadsheets and where the business can be as ruthless as the racing. We'll uncover how a sport that burns through $300 million per team per season stays profitable, why driver salaries range from modest to private jet money, and how a single rule change can send shockwaves through stock markets. This is the high-stakes world where billionaires, corporations, and governments gamble fortunes, all for the chance to stand on the podium. And behind it all? The shadow players, the oil tycoons, the tech moguls, and even nation-states, using F1 as the ultimate global billboard. Because in Formula One, victory isn't just measured in laps. It's counted in contracts, valuations, and the cold, hard calculus of return on investment. When Formula One began in 1950, there were no billion-dollar TV rights, no lavish paddocks, no private jets ferrying engineers between races. Teams, often just a handful of mechanics and a daring driver, would sometimes tow their race cars to the track behind family sedans. Races were run on public roads with hay bales for barriers, and the pit crew might just be the driver's friends, armed with wrenches and spare fuel cans. In the early days, prize money was small. In 1950, the entire championship budget was less than $1 million in today's money. Drivers raced for passion, not paychecks, and a sponsorship deal might mean free tires or a local garage covering travel costs. Compare that to now. Liberty Media, which owns F1, reported revenues of $2.57 billion in 2023. That's more than some small countries' GDPs. And it doesn't even include team budgets, where top outfits like Mercedes and Red Bull each spend over $400 million a year just to stay competitive. The big shift happened in the 1980s, when Bernie Ecclestone, a former used car salesman turned Formula One mogul, centralized TV rights. Before Ecclestone, races negotiated broadcast deals individually, leading to patchy coverage and tiny payouts. But Bernie saw F1 not just as a sport, but as a global entertainment product. He bundled the rights into a single, must-have package for networks, turning racing into a media empire overnight. By 1997, TV rights brought in over $250 million a year. Today, that number is closer to $1 billion. And here's the kicker. Most of that money comes from just a few key markets. The UK and Italy, F1's historic heartlands, pay premium fees for coverage. The US, once a tough sell, now pours in cash thanks to Netflix's Drive to Survive and sold-out races in Miami and Las Vegas. And then there's the Middle East. Oil-rich nations like Saudi Arabia and Qatar don't just host races. They pay hundreds of millions in hosting fees, turning Formula One into a geopolitical tool as much as a sporting spectacle. But here's the twist. While Ecclestone's TV revolution made F1 rich, it also created a divide. Smaller teams still struggle to survive, and fans complain about paywalls and exclusive streaming deals. The sport's financial engine roars louder than ever. But who really benefits? The teams? The fans? Or the suits counting the zeros? Next, we'll reveal how F1's current owners, Liberty Media, are betting billions on America, and why traditional fans fear the sport's soul is up for sale. In Formula One, cars are moving billboards, and the billboard space is premium real estate. A main title sponsorship can cost more than an entire small team's yearly budget. In fact, for backmarker teams, landing just one major sponsor can mean the difference between survival and bankruptcy. Every inch of carbon fiber is monetized from the rear wing to the driver's overalls, because in F1, branding isn't just marketing, it's life support. Take Mercedes-AMG Petronas, their title sponsor, Petronas, reportedly pays around $75 million per season just to have its name on the car. That's more than some teams spend on their entire engine program. Red Bull's partnership with Oracle? A staggering $300 million over 5 years. Roughly the GDP of a small island nation. Even smaller spots, like a logo on the front wing or the side pod, can cost $1 to $2 million a year. And if you want your brand on a driver's helmet, that'll be another $500,000, minimum. But why do companies pay so much? For some, like Rolex, it's about prestige. The Swiss watchmaker doesn't just sponsor F1, it owns timekeeping in the sport, reinforcing its image of precision and exclusivity. For others, like Aston Martin's partnership with Aramco, it's strategic empire building. Saudi Arabia's state oil giant isn't just buying exposure, it's buying influence, using F1 to soften its global image and push into new markets. And let's not forget the teams backed by national wealth funds, like Alfa Romeo's ties to Singapore's sovereign investors. Because in modern F1, geopolitics and gasoline go hand in hand. Then there are the disruptors' energy drink empires like Red Bull, which turned a sponsorship into full team ownership and changed the sport forever. Cryptocurrency platforms, like former sponsor FTX, who bet big before crashing harder than a lap 1 pileup. Even fashion brands. Puma designs team gear, Tommy Hilfiger dresses Haas, and Richard Mille makes $2 million watches for drivers to wear on the podium. Because F1 isn't just selling speed, it's selling aspiration to the world's wealthiest 0.1%. But here's the catch. Sponsorships are a high-stakes gamble. A team's performance can make or break a deal. One bad season, and those logos vanish faster than a pit-stop tire change. Just ask Williams, who lost Martini's millions when their results slumped, or McLaren scrambling to replace lost sponsors after years in the midfield. In F1, love is temporary, but money, that's always on the clock. Next, we'll expose how driver salaries really work, from pay drivers bringing checks to champions demanding private jets, and why some teams would rather hire a banker than a racer. Here's the reality. Money buys speed. In 2023, Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari each spent around $300 million before sneaking in the loopholes. Meanwhile, teams like Haas or Williams scraped by on less than $150 million. That's not just a gap, it's a chasm. And in Formula One, cash doesn't just talk, it accelerates. Even with the budget cap set at $135 million in 2021, wealthier teams still laugh their way to the podium. Why? Because the cap's fine print is practically a cheat code. Driver salaries? Exempt. Verstappen alone costs Red Bull $55 million a year. Top executive pay? Not included. Marketing, hospitality, and those very expensive team principal bonuses? All free passes. Added up, and the capped teams still outspend the underdogs by tens of millions. But the real advantage? Infrastructure. Big teams don't just have wind tunnels, they have better ones, running 24/7 with AI-driven simulations. They've got armies of engineers optimizing every bolt, while smaller teams recycle old parts to stay under budget. That's why a backmarker scoring a podium isn't just exciting, it's miraculous. Like a minnow beating a shark. In the shark's own tank. In F1, catching up without money is like trying to outpace Max Verstappen. In a rental car. You might dream about it, but physics and the accountants have other plans. So next time you see a David versus Goliath moment, remember, that underdog didn't just beat the odds, they beat the system. F1's prize money pool in 2023 was around $1 billion. But here's the twist. It's not just about who crosses the line first. This isn't a fair race. It's a wealth redistribution scheme dressed up as competition. Take Ferrari. They get a special heritage bonus, a cool $35 million a year, just for showing up since 1950. That's right. Even if they finish last, they still pocket more than some teams earn for actually winning races. Mercedes and Red Bull get their own historical performance handouts, too smaller, but still millions for past glory. It's like getting a trust fund for being old. The result? A newcomer could dominate a season and still walk away with less cash than a legacy team that barely scraped into the points. The gap between first and last in prize money? Over $60 million, enough to buy a second wind tunnel or 3 elite drivers. The system isn't designed to reward winners. It's designed to protect the establishment. And yes, even the last-place team gets a slice, usually around $35 million. Just enough to exist, but never enough to compete. Call it participation trophies for billionaires. So next time you hear F1 talk about sporting fairness, remember, the real race isn't on the track. It's in the boardroom where the rules are written by the winners. The future of F1 is expanding, and so is the money. Races aren't just sporting events anymore. They're luxury spectacles designed for the ultra-rich. Miami's fake marina, Las Vegas's casino-lit strip, and rumored South African safaris aren't about racing tradition. They're about high-roller ticket packages and billion-dollar branding opportunities. Because in modern F1, the real finish line isn't the checkered flag. It's the credit card swipe at the VIP Paddock Club. The Netflix effect? It didn't just change the game, it rewrote the rulebook. After Drive to Survive launched in 2019, U.S. viewership exploded by 40%, turning American sponsors into F1's new sugar daddies. Suddenly, Silicon Valley giants like Salesforce and Google wanted in. MoneyGram slapped its logo on Haas, and Wall Street started treating F1 teams like tech startups, complete with wild valuations. The sport's global audience now tops 500 million fans, and every one of them is a marketing target. Budget caps were supposed to level the playing field, but in F1, rules are just suggestions. The big teams still dominate because money finds a way. Special projects departments, heritage bonuses, and non-cap-exempt tech partnerships keep the rich ahead. Meanwhile, smaller teams beg for sponsors just to afford upgrades. The next decade won't be about who's fastest. It'll be about who's smartest with spreadsheets. One thing is certain. In Formula One, money isn't just the fuel. It's the engine, the pit crew, and the damn trophy. Because without it, you're not just losing, you're not even on the grid. The question is, when the price of winning keeps rising, who gets left behind? Because in this sport, the race doesn't end at the finish line, it ends at the bank. Where victories are measured in sponsorship deals, team valuations climb faster than lap times, and even the champagne sprays come with a hidden invoice. Formula One isn't just a competition of speed, it's a high-speed chase for profit. And in that race, nobody ever lifts.